do it. I want you to do it. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me. Ah! Hit me.
So moving into Christopher Nolan territory, they're putting out solo releases, but they're doing the same thing.
They just don't care.
You've got Batman silhouette for Batman Begins, brown. You've got Joker with a Batman silhouette, Dark Knight, blue. And then you've got this Dark Knight Rises one with, I think, is another Batman silhouette, but they're just leaning into these color motifs with all of them. Like, these are the colors that these movies were assigned.
Amusing, but pointless.
Why on Tim Burton's they put that DC logo on it, but why did they not put the DC logo on Nolan's?
Look at you, dude. They got WB on there, but no DC.
You made a serious mistake.
I mean, it looks like all the stuff on the inside is essentially the same from 89. It's like whether it be an illustration versus a storyboard versus a bookmark versus a poster versus this or that. It's kind of just all this generic materials that you would see with releases like this that you're already familiar with. It's just done in a way that, again, I feel like should be $39.99 and not exist.
I don't think they ever tried to market it to the billionaire spelunking base jumping crowd.
I do like the Dark Knight cover. I do like that one.
So taking a look at that one, you've got the scene where
I don't like the
Joker's driving
silhouette,
away.
but I like that scene. It's uninspired, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is cover of the year, but compared to the other ones, this one's nicer.
Fair enough.
The Dark Knight Rises, they're using
Terrible.
basically like the meme. I guess they didn't care that that's already been turned into a joke, this cover, and they're going to like go for it. All of these are coming out May 30th. And I couldn't care less about any of these. Like, I mean, it's such a shame.
Sometimes things just go bad.
If you can't bring anything new to the table beyond packaging, knock the packaging out of the park, please.
Yeah.
Do something grand.
Yeah,
Especially if you're charging $54.99.
$54.99 is insane. It's insane. As far as the movies are concerned, I know we talked about the original Tim Burton ones, and this is, again, another serious attempt to try to make Batman real. Like, let's show how Batman became Batman. Let's show, because you don't get that in the Burton movies. It's like, let's show. Kind of.
You do.
I mean,
it's just not done the way people obsess over it.
You get you get the catalyst. You get so much more of young Bruce Wayne in this movie than you ever have in any other Batman movie.
Who wants that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make this a movie where it's like, this is this guy, here's what's going on in his life, then he becomes Batman, and then here's the resulting thing. That's what they're trying to do.
And I don't mean to jump down your throat.
You
but
did.
That's what everyone goes in on. It's like, this is the Batman where we're going to show him be a detective and use his sleuth skills. This is the Batman where we're going to really deal into the psyche about losing his parents. This is the Batman where blah, blah, blah. It's like every fucking movie's the same. He loses his parents and he dresses up as a bat. That's it. That's why his villains are more interesting.
You know that I'm telling the truth.
And that's why, in my opinion, Batman Begins was lackluster. Maybe in comic books, it comes across deeper and better. Film, it's just the same thing. I don't care who's cast as Bruce Wayne or Batman. It's the same thing each time. There's only one way to portray that.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
At this point when this movie came out, if you're looking at the only ones that were released, the two Tim Burton and the two Joel Schumacher, this is definitely a new take on everything that they had ever done.
I understand what your point is going to be. I'll even take it a step further.
Take it.
They had to do that because of Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
there was no other way to go.
You're not making another goofy one.
Exactly. There was no other way to go but this route. And Nolan was the perfect guy to do it.
I think when this movie came out, Batman Begins, I think everyone was a little trepidatious on it. I think they saw it. I remember I watched it and I thought, that was good. Like, that was, I'm not mad at that. That's good. That was interesting. It was different from what I remember. I'm still a Michael Keaton guy, but at least someone's trying something that isn't a piece of garbage, like, in my opinion at the time, Batman and Robin was. Then when Dark Knight came out, I think it sort of legitimized this movie a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
And when I've gone back and rewatched these since, this movie does hold up very well as a strong film in this franchise, as well as The Dark Knight, whereas Dark Knight Rises is just garbage.
Oh, really?
I'm with you on that. I think Dark Knight legitimized this one. I think, it kind of, when people went back and rewatched this one as a companion piece to the immensely popular Dark Knight, it did. What's cornier, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze or Tom Hardy's Bane?
His name is Bane.
At least Schwarzenegger's Freeze contextually works within Batman and Robin because the whole movie's a cartoon.
I would argue that the Bane in Batman and Robin is
That's
better
right.
than this Bane.
I forgot Bane is in Batman and Robin. He's with Poison Ivy. You're right. Yeah,
I'd argue that he's better.
Hang them where the world can see.
In Dark Knight Rises, other than the opening scene, which Christopher Nolan can do great set pieces, the opening scene where they're in the plane and the plane's like breaking apart and all kinds of shit's going on, like that scene is something to behold, and it's a very interesting intro to that villain.
Scene. Yeah.
Bane's motivations as a villain suck. You can't understand him. That's a whole other gripe, but it sucks. And then how he's resolved just sucks. Like he's the villain for 95% of the movie, and then surprise, he wasn't. It was this person, and then he's just like off screen the rest of the time because he's dead.
What is this?
And maybe he was trying to tell us the whole time he wasn't the villain, but we couldn't understand him. He was innocent.
She's the one.
Let me get on his football field and tell everybody I'm not really the bad guy.
In so many of these movies, there's so many holes you could poke. I feel like my goodwill ran out in The Dark Knight Rises.
Sorry to keep letting you down.
Dark Knight suffers from the same issues that Dark Knight Rises suffers from as far as plot holes go.
Okay.
Anne Hathaway is incredible in The Dark Knight Rises. She deserved a better movie. She knocked it out the park, in my opinion, as she always does. Most of the issues, though, with it, I could also lobby towards The Dark Knight. The difference is Heath Ledger.
I like that.
Heath Ledger confused everyone into his performance was so great that it confused everyone into thinking the movie was great. And it's just really good. It's a really, really good. It's a great comic book movie, and it has a phenomenal performance within it. So there's a lot to love. It's great.
Yeah.
It's worth picking up. I own it. I'm not shitting on the film. It's just overblown, in my opinion. The Dark Knight is a better movie than The Dark Knight Rises, but I just kind of want to level the playing field a bit because over the years, I always see people put The Dark Knight up as like the greatest comic book movie ever made, and it's perfect. And it's like, no, it's not that, but it is a contender. It's top 5. The drop off of villains from Heath Ledger's Joker to Tom Hardy's Bane, you got to throw them a bone. Heath Ledger died. They planned on having Joker in Dark Knight Rises. So, I always kind of gave it some leeway there as well.
I keep going back to the voice, and I feel like that is such a big part, especially when the person has a mask on.
Yeah.
Their voice has to be something. And there's no chance in hell they didn't spend months, if some amount of time, whatever it is, to figure out not only how Tom Hardy is going to say it through the mask, how he's then going to go back on a microphone and say it, how they're then going to do modulation and change it in a certain way.
Yeah.
They had to have tested that to the point where they were like, this sounds good.
I found a character, a man called Bartley Gorman, who's a Romany gypsy. When I get into a ring with a man, I don't really want to wipe me off the face yet. Chris, we can either go down a sort of arch Darth Vader kind of route, neutral toned villain voice, or we could try this. No, I think we'll go with it. And that was that.
But when it's the main villain,
I'm with you.
It's like, and like you said, 10 out 2, didn't anyone listen to this? Didn't anyone watch this? It's like, did anyone hear this man speak and think, this is intimidating? Like, not only what are you saying, but why do you sound that way? And why, this is not, I'm not scared, I'm laughing. Until he like picks up Batman and breaks him in half. And you're like, okay, well, he's super strong, but
I'm
other than
laughing then
that,
too. So Dark Knight Rises, debuting on June, what is it?
yeah, this will be June 6th.
June 6th.
For all of these films. So these are coming out June 6th from Zavvi. Cash grabs galore, $55 each. Can't recommend these at all. Great movies. Can't, except for Dark Knight Rises, but can't recommend these as a purchase. The Burton films, same thing. Can't really recommend those as a purchase. Love those movies too. So Zavvi, May 30th for the Burtons. June 6th. Get them if you want to.